8:42 is the time in the studios here at Q. We're getting ready in just a moment. We will be live with Jarett, Jacques. Keep it locked.
In the spotlight on Q95 FM radio every Monday night from 8 p.m. In the spotlight, featuring people from all walks of Dominican life, spotlighting their triumphs and tragedies, dreams, hopes, aspirations, untold stories, touching the human and personal side of our people in politics, religion, sports, business, music, culture, the media, and more. Getting to know our farmers, our public servants, youth, and the ordinary Dominican. Listen to their stories. No limitations, no restrictions, no holds barred. In the spotlight will also spotlight interesting topics, issues, and relevant situations. Don't miss In the Spotlight on Q95 FM radio every Monday night from 8 p.m. In the Spotlight.
What a beautiful Monday night it is. 8:44 is the time in the studios here at Q95 FM radio. It is a pleasure to be here for another In the Spotlight radio show right here on Q95 FM radio, and also streamed live via the Facebook page of the In the Spotlight radio and the TV shows. I've changed it up a bit because we're actually starting off with our first program this Saturday, and no going back this time. We actually have our little promo video, we have our flyers, and Jordan Jerome, aka GK, is working on editing and making sure that we're set to go this Saturday 8 p.m. with the In the Spotlight shortened versions that we're doing strictly for social media, and we call it In the Spotlight TV. So look out for the programs coming up. You'll be pretty excited about the very first program. It's somebody that you've been asking for, that you want to hear from that person, and so we begin this Saturday, God willing, and we wish to thank all those who have come on board and supported us. Before we get to our guest tonight, I really do have to, in such a big way, say a huge thank you to all the folks who have come on board to support the Classroom Ready, Set, Go Scholarship Initiative. And as I have indicated before, we had one fan, one supporter, one listener of the program. And this person just caught on to the In the Spotlight radio show at some point. The person is not Dominican, the person is Caribbean, but based in the US, and that person has remained a close supporter of the program. And she came to me and she said, you know, Fadina, I would like to do something, well, I can't say it with her accent, but you know, she said, I would like to do something for Dominica through your show. A scholarship program, $500 I would put up, and we would give that $500 to a deserving child. A child who is in need, a child who is in a single parent household, whether it be a single father or single mother, or even a grandparent or grandparents. You know, the child would have had to sit the common entrance exam, and I think there's one other criteria that's not coming to mind right now. And I said to her, awesome, let's do it. I went on further and I said, you know, can we open it up to other people if they would like, to come on board to support us? And she said, sure, no problem. I don't see any issue with that, you know. As many children as we can help, let's try our best to help. And people, for those of you who are not on social media, so those on social media will probably already know, but people have come through so much that we can now give 7 $500 scholarships to students. We got quite a few applications, but we had to narrow it down. We got 7. We got funds to support 7. And I remember one person messaging me and saying to me, Fedina, I remember when I was young, you know, going to school. I wonder if I can get the message that I can actually read it first before we actually get. The person said, count me in on this journey. I was raised poor and not enough money to buy books, so I know how it is. Now I can buy a whole bookstore and the publishing company, so count me in. And that person is already supporting 2 other students, but the person said, count me in, I want to help. And I mean, it's just amazing, and I'm really, really, really happy. We are really happy because, as I said, this was not my initiative. I'm not going to take the credit for it. This was the initiative of a fan of the program, and then I consented and I said, can we ask other people to support? And we did our video, and people have come out. Imagine, folks, close to $10,000 in scholarships from you, from the supporters of the program, and from people who just want to help. And so we will be presenting to the selected students this Saturday. And at some point, some people are okay being mentioned, some prefer to remain anonymous, but we definitely will acknowledge everyone, respecting those who choose to remain anonymous, but we have to say thank you in a big way. Somebody else who also contributed financially is also putting together some books and backpacks and other things, you know, to send down so that, you know, we can help some other people who may need the help. If you still feel you want to help in some way or the other, we will welcome your donations and your contributions as well. So feel free, you know, to make contact, and let's talk about what we can do together. 8:50 is the time in the studios, and tonight is going to be a beautiful night. A night of conversation and music. And let me tell you, you better stay close to your radio. You better stay close to this computer screen or laptop or a tablet, laptop, whatever you're watching on social media. We're excited to be here tonight because we have a young man on In the Spotlight radio show. By the way, let me acknowledge Josephine. I forgot my notes tonight. You know, it happens. I forgot my notes, so let me just say, acknowledge Josephine Gabriel and company for providing us with our Twapita water tonight. We want to say thank you to Jordan Jerome, always in the background. I consider him my partner right now. You know, he's working with me very well. GK, if you're tuned in and you're listening, I really want you to know that I appreciate you big time. So thank you for your support. Who else do we big up? Q95, we want to say thank you too. And of course, you know, please follow our In the Spotlight Facebook page. So it's now In the Spotlight radio and TV shows. So look for that and follow our page. Become a fan of our In the Spotlight radio and TV fans page. And we're just happy to be here tonight. And yeah, let's hope that we've acknowledged who we need to acknowledge and to get things going here on the program. So welcome again, everyone. If you tuned in via Q95, it is a pleasure to have you. If you're joining us via social media, it is also quite a pleasure to have you here with us tonight on the program. Now, this young man is so amazingly talented. And I was saying to his dad out there, and I really want to, you know, just big up his dad, I've always seen this man everywhere with this boy. And he told me, it's not just me, Fedina, it's the entire family. The entire family is behind Jarett 100 and more %. And so, I remember seeing this young man, year high, playing at shows and events and, just always admired. He was always so smartly dressed, always played so beautifully. And he's in Dominica. I didn't know he was in Dominica, but people always tell me, people always message me or call me and say, such and such a person is in Dominica, you should get them on. And I just want to say hi to Mrs. Lang Surrender tonight. I hope that she's tuned in, whether via radio or on social media, wherever she might be. I'm really happy. And there was somebody else, it's not coming to me now, who really touched base with me. To just let me know that you were around. And Jarett, it is a pleasure to have you in the studios of Q95 FM. As I said, I remember you year high at various shows performing, and here you are tonight with us on the program. Good evening to you and welcome.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm really excited.
I hope you are, and I hope they are excited too. Let me just allow you the opportunity to say hello to the folks who are listening and tuned in. I know your family must be locked in and just waiting to hear how this program rolls tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So good night, everyone. Like Fernanda said, my name is Jarett, Jacques. I'm 18 years old currently. I'm a musician. Right now, the next main phase in my life, I'm off to university at the Eastman School of Music in the University of Rochester in New York to pursue a degree in music education. I pretty much just want to become a professional musician and performer and music educator.
And that's what it is.
That's the goal.
It's all about music.
It's all about music.
All the way. If you don't mind me asking, Jarett, how old are you?
I'm 18.
You're 18 years old. We are going to you don't have much memory lane to go down at that age, but we're going to try to get to know about you and your upbringing a bit. So Jarett, let's start off first by telling us about where you're from. What part of Dominica are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Wallhouse.
You're from Wallhouse?
Yes.
All right.
That's pretty much where all myself and my two younger siblings grew up, Sierra and Tyreek.
Okay.
I do have two older siblings, Stacey and Stephanie as well, but they're overseas at the moment.
Okay, and Tyreek is here with us tonight.
Tyreek is here, yeah.
And I saw him, assisting you with your instruments, and I thought to myself, that's just so cool.
I know, he's always there.
Tell me about him.
Yeah, he's one of my biggest supporters. I know you have that brother rivalry always going on, and right now he's younger than me. He's only 15. He's already taller than me. He's bigger than me. So that the things coming.
So he thinks he's older. Right?
Yeah, you could say that. But I mean, he's always there. Whenever I have to play, he's the one who's there, controlling my music, making sure things run smoothly in the background. So I'm not, running around switching instruments and doing all of that myself. So him and my dad are the two ones always there, making most of my performances, making sure that things run smoothly.
Does he play as well?
Yes, my brother does play. All of my siblings play.
Mm-hmm.
My brother plays the trumpet and saxophone. My younger sister Sierra, she plays the clarinet. And then my two older sisters, Stacey and Stephanie, they both play the clarinet and saxophone.
Mm-hmm. Your dad is out there, and I'm saying to him, you should come in and just have a little chat with us too. He said it's Jarett's moment, but I just want him to know if he changes his mind, he's free to come in and chat with us a bit as well. It would be nice to get his perspective, in terms of you just mentioned that he's always been there, and I've always seen him around, and it would just be nice to get the perspective of the father from that point of view. So, Mr. Jacques, I really do hope that you come in and just, just a 5-10 minutes with us would be awesome. But tell me about your dad. Tell me about the rest of your family.
Yeah, absolutely. My dad, like I said, he's always with me, with my performances and whatnot. My mom, I love my mom so much.
What's her name?
Marlene.
Yeah.
Marlene.
Marlene. Okay. All right.
She's so supportive. Making sure that everything's prepared for me. what, I'm always thinking about what clothes am I going to wear, what, there's so many things that goes on behind the scenes and, before, see me at a performance. And there's, I have such a great support team behind me, my parents, my siblings, they're just like so amazing and very supportive.
They're very supportive.
Extremely.
Let us talk a bit, Jarett, about growing up in this environment.
Right.
With your family, with your siblings. What was it like growing up?
I mean, we're super.
I mean, you're 18, but still.
I know. We're super close knit. My family has to be one of the most important things in my life. And I thank God every day that He put those people in my life to help me grow and to nurture me. Like I said, my parents, they've always, tried their best to, help keep me on the right path and give me, every opportunity and advantage possible. Myself and all of my other siblings included. And, just being around, having my two older sisters, because there's actually a pretty decent age gap between myself and my second older sister.
Okay.
There's 12 years between us. So it's like, my two older sisters were like, my secondary parents, you could almost say. So, I had just so much good influence in the home at a really young age. And obviously I credit all of that to, why I am at the place I am at today, because of, the influences that they had on me.
Tell me some of the things that you did as children.
Yeah, I mean, I think just, being able to like play and just be with your siblings is like, that's like amazing. And I wouldn't trade that in the world for anything. And then even from like, separate from just like a music perspective, we do a lot of things together as a family, whether it's like, always having meals together, so where we can always like interact and all of that, or even when it comes to music, like, we often practice together, play together, so we can like help each other grow. I think that's just one main thing in our family is like we're all just so invested in each other and each other's development that we can all just grow together.
Is it always all about music?
Not necessarily. I think it definitely tends to be portrayed that way.
Yes.
Just because I think that's my main thing.
Everybody plays.
Yeah.
Everybody plays music, so it's like in this household, that's all they do is play music.
I know. I mean, but for me, I think I'm the one who takes it the most seriously. I'm like the one going all the way in terms of like, this is what I really want to make a career out of, I mean, but although my two older sisters, they play music, they went into different fields. My sister, she completed her master's in public health at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. My older sister, Stacey, she just graduated in business management. So we all have different interests, but the common thing between us is that we all play. Yeah.
But you are the one who wants to make it a career.
Definitely, yes.
So far.
Yeah, so far. I'm not too sure.
There's two behind you.
I'm not too sure how they feel about it. I definitely think they have other interests. They're still, amazingly talented as well, and no doubt about it. But I definitely think that there are other things that they want to pursue in life. Yeah.
9 o'clock is the time in the studios. We have still quite a bit of talking to do with Jarett, Jacques. But Jarett, because we're going to be playing some music for the audience in between, I want to begin with a piece. So if you can get yourself ready for the first piece that you're going to do for us tonight. Before we get into all of the background, how the music started. Is your dad a musician himself? Is your mother a musician herself? We're going to talk about all of that in just a while. But in the meantime and between time, we are going to be getting some musical interludes. What is the instrument you're going to play, Jarett?
So the first instrument I'm going to play tonight is the trumpet.
It's the trumpet.
Yeah. And I decided to start off with a jazz standard by Sonny Rollins. It's called St. Thomas.
It's called St. Thomas.
Yes, it's got this really, fun, fast tempo to it, so I think you'll enjoy it.
Tell me about the trumpet.
So the trumpet is actually what I would say is my main instrument.
Okay.
That's the main instrument that I'll be studying with when I'm at Eastman School of Music. And I started off the trumpet when I was about 6 years old. Yeah. And I pretty much just, stuck with it, and I fell in love with the instrument, and, that was before I, added all the other instruments that I play.
The trumpet.
Yeah.
And tell us again what you're going to play for us.
It's called St. Thomas by Sonny Rollins.
All right. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay. So we need to just get him to click his... Yeah? That was quite impressive, Jarett. Let us
Thank you
talk.
so much. Thank you.
Yes, you're most welcome. Let's get your mic back open.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think people really truly appreciated what you just did a while ago. I was kind of moving and rocking to the music right away.
Yeah.
A couple of things, Jarett. First of all, you said this is probably your favorite instrument, or the one that you...
I love playing all of the instruments I do, but it's my main instrument.
It's your main instrument. You won't call it your favorite.
No.
You'll say it's your main instrument. Yeah. Let us talk about when and how you started playing this particular instrument.
Absolutely. Okay. So, like I said, I was about 6 years old, and so I actually want to shout out Jarett Lawrence. He was my first trumpet teacher. He started me off when I was about 6, like I said, and he taught me for about, I want to say about 5 or 6 years. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he is absolutely the reason why, I kind of had that solid foundation in trumpet. And what he gave me was the ability to kind of, learn the instrument and actually realize that I had a passion for it and that I really wanted to get good at it. So, his guidance, in my early years is definitely, he has to take a lot of credit for the reason that I still play trumpet to this day. And yeah, so I started trumpet when I was 6, and I started with Jarett Lawrence for about 5 or 6 years, and eventually I kind of became self-taught for a little bit. Luckily, I got an opportunity to go to France to attend a master class. I studied with a man named Jacques.
How did that come about?
So there was this competition in Dominica called Clé d'Or, and essentially it was like a music competition, and the winners got an opportunity to go to France for that. I think it was about 2 to 3 weeks master class. Easily one of the best and most transformative experiences of my life. I was lucky enough to be sent to that masterclass for both trumpet and piano. I studied piano with a man named Mr. Ganasha, and I studied trumpet with Guy Truffaut. And like I said, I was completely surrounded by other musicians like myself, and I think that was the first time that I kind of felt, this like fire and passion to grow, because there were so many other students around me who were I at that time I felt like light years ahead of me in terms of development, and we were around similar ages. So that desire to just grow and develop really sparked at that time. So I started taking music and especially trumpet a lot more seriously. And during all that time, after France, like I said, I was pretty much mostly self-taught until I got to my previous school, Choate Rosemary Hall, in Connecticut, where I was the last 3 years.
What skills are required to be able to play the trumpet?
So it's a brass instrument, which means you use your air to blow through. So it's pretty difficult at first, and I think a lot of students may find it difficult to get started on an instrument like trumpet because it takes so long to be able to get the sound that you want. Because I think a lot of times that beginners have unrealistic expectations of what they can achieve, and it really took me quite a while, and I made a ton of mistakes, and there were so many times where I had to start over because it's really difficult to break bad habits. But if you want to improve, you have to do so. So you need to be able to have really good breath control. You need to be able to have really good coordination because you're playing with valves, and that has to line up great with your tongue, because using your tongue, using your air. So there's a lot of coordination involved, and really slight movement. So it definitely takes a while to really get that specific tone that you want out of the instrument. And I would just encourage anyone who's trying to pick up the trumpet to actually stick with it. You will reap those benefits eventually.
So you speak about having breath control and all of that. Is that something you practice separately?
Yeah.
In terms of the breathing, and what do you do? What do you have to do?
Yeah. So there are a ton of exercises that you can do to isolate certain techniques in order to improve them, so that your playing on a whole can see drastic improvements. So you could do breath techniques separate from the instrument. Those come in a lot of different ways. Sometimes it's just like increasing, doing exercises to increase your lung capacity. Funny story, actually. Going back to my dad, like I said, how much he helped me. He would go on the internet and like search up these YouTube videos. I was probably too young at the time to like sit through hours of YouTube videos and actually want to do that. So what he would do, he would go through those YouTube videos and like read all those articles, and he would like explain it to me in a way that I would understand as a kid. And from one of those videos, he actually found this it's basically a cylinder and with an air tube, and what it does with a little ball inside. And essentially what it does is to help you practice increasing your lung capacity and the amount of air that you can hold at a certain time, so you can play for longer. Because
how does that work?
Yeah, so what you do is there's little holes at the top, and by covering certain holes, it's harder to blow air, and the goal is to have the ball raised to the top by your air pressure. So the longer that you can get that ball to stay like uplifted in the cylinder, is the stronger that your air pressure is, and like the more air that you can actually push out of your body. And what he did, he actually created that that instrument at home from home supplies. And it was a super fun project. He made 2 of them, one for myself and I think my brother, who was also learning trumpet at the time. And I used that for years to just be able to like practice, improving my breath control and like other aspects of breathing and so on. And that's so cool, is because like I didn't need to spend like hundreds of dollars, because we were able to just like take what we had at home and build it. And that's another reason why I improved so much.
Innovation at work.
Exactly.
You also mentioned the tongue. What role does the tongue play?
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you could hear some of my notes. Were very like percussive. For example, some were like short or longer, more connected. That's what the tongue does. So it essentially you use your tongue. We just call it tonguing, basically, while you play. Is all it does is just like it helps you to add articulation to your playing. And articulation refers to how percussive that your tone is. So are my notes coming out really short, or are my notes coming out more long and connected? And depending on what song that I'm playing, I'm going to use different types of articulation. So, for example, the song that I just played, St. Thomas, it's not a very smooth and connected song, so I'm going to use more percussive articulation to make it sound more interesting. But if I was playing a song like, I don't know, by Celine Dion, My Heart Will Go On, I'm not going to use a lot of strong articulation, because I want it to sound sweet and
smooth.
Exactly.
Yes.
So all of that you have to think about when you're playing. Yeah.
Okay. This is also very fascinating. I mean, who would think that somebody just has this instrument and blowing it and playing music, that it involved all of those intricacies.
Absolutely.
It is interesting. How many instruments do you play, Jarett?
So I play about 9 instruments.
Nine.
Nine instruments.
Yes.
But when you see me performing in public, the instruments that you're mostly going to see me perform are the trumpet, the trombone, saxophone, and the piano.
The trumpet, trombone,
saxophone, piano.
Well, obviously we couldn't bring a piano in here,
Yeah.
but you have all 3 of the others you've mentioned.
Yeah. I have quite the musical instrument collection.
Yes. No, I mean you have this here tonight.
Yeah, see it. Yeah.
Yes. So that's 4 you mentioned.
Yeah.
But just give us a sense of the others.
Yeah. So there's euphonium.
Oh my goodness! Wait. Some of us are not so musically inclined. Okay, Jarett. So let's go. So when you say the name of the instrument, please explain to us what it is.
Sure.
And what it does.
Yeah, totally. So the euphonium, maybe you know what a tuba looks like. It's this really the really big instrument with a large bell that you see people playing in marching bands.
Correct.
Great. Think of a euphonium as just like a miniature, a smaller version of that tuba. Yeah, so that's how the euphonium looks like, and it pretty much serves the same purpose as like that bass, to carry, that kind of thing.
How often do you pick it up?
No, not as much. I used to play it quite often because I used to sit ABRSM, that's Associated Board of the Royal Schools of Music exams. Those are exams by a music board in London, and I used to take those exams every year. They have grade levels 1 through 8, and then diploma levels. And beside that, so I actually got to the highest level, the diploma exam on trumpet, trombone, and piano. So I got to the highest level diploma from that board, earning me the right to put the letters ARSM. I'm now an associate of the Royal Schools of Music.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. And but I only got up to grade 8, so just one below the diploma level on euphonium.
Okay, so that's euphonium.
Euphonium.
And to be honest with you, I'm not ashamed. This is the first time I'm hearing the name of that instrument.
It's definitely not one of the most
popular ones.
Yeah,
okay. All right. So yes.
And then you also have I play the French horn as well.
French horn.
French horn.
Okay.
Have you ever seen one of those instruments? Probably played in like an orchestra, and it's really spiral. It's got a lot of spiraling tubings.
Yes.
You have that is the French horn.
Even if it's in the movies, but anyway.
Exactly. But yeah, so you have seen it. French horn, I would have to say, is or has been the most difficult instrument that I've had to learn. It's very, very intricate, and being able to like get over that hump of being able to actually sound good on it, it takes a while. And I also sat exams. I think I only did up to grade 5 for French horn, however. But yeah, I still enjoyed playing the instrument, but definitely one of the more difficult, if not the most difficult instrument that I've ever had to learn.
Mm-hmm. And similar question to the previous one, how often do you pick up that one?
This one,
once in a while.
Once in a while. It's not one of the instruments that I can just be like, I'm gonna go perform this at a concert.
Okay.
It's not extremely versatile in that sense. So that causes me not to pick it up as often. Yeah.
Okay. Is it something that you had to learn to play as part of a process or part of a level of whatever you had to do that you ended up playing?
No, not at all. It was simply because I wanted to.
Because you wanted to.
I would say like all the instruments that I've learned so far are simply because I just had the desire to learn it. There was no one or no reason in particular that I had to learn these instruments. I just I felt like what if I just give a crack at this, and like eventually I stuck with it long enough that I was able to actually see results.
Okay, so stick up in here before we talk about the others.
Yeah.
So how do you decide then that I want to learn to play this instrument?
I would say because it was available to me. And the reason that it was available to me is the way I got all these, because these are a lot of instruments, like being able to have...
Well, they stored.
I know, exactly. The way that I got started out with like actually having access to these instruments is my dad actually, I can't remember, I believe it was at Reach, there was a sale where they just had like a ton of musical instruments. So what he did was he went and he pretty much bought one of like everything that he could get his hands on. So like he got like a trumpet, a trombone, flute, French horn, basically everything that
your father is the real
You could say that again. You could say that again. So he pretty much, like I said, got everything he could get his hands on, brought them all home. Obviously I didn't like go at all of them at once. I think at that point in time I was still mainly sticking with trumpet and piano at the time, and but they were there. So I was like, one day if I'm just like, why don't I give this a try, And for everyone that I picked up,
would you YouTube?
Yeah, ton of YouTube videos, because the only instruments that I actually had teachers for here were piano, trumpet, and trombone.
Mm-hmm.
All of the other instruments that I learned were me being self-taught, which was basically mostly my dad, doing the research and like actually helping me. Which is, another thing too is like my dad, like he's not a musician, and
he's not. Imagine that.
He used to play the bass, which I have never actually heard. So I'm not actually sure how true that is. But he did have the bass guitar at home. So I'm inclined to believe at some point it's like he did play.
Mr. Jacques coming to defend yourself. Not that's good. Not even that is going to get him to come into the studio. I suspect.
He doesn't like being in the spotlight.
Yes,
in the spotlight, right? Yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, we were talking about how you decide on what to play and so on.
Yeah. So pretty much he got those instruments for me, and I pretty much just, as time went on, and I was like, let me actually give a crack at this instrument, and I kept adding them, because when I picked it up, I didn't just drop it off. After a week, I actually continued it, and I continued practicing. My dad continued to do the research. I actually showed an interest in what was happening, and because of that, it gave him the encouragement to keep encouraging me. And I pretty much just grew from there.
So we spoke about two of the others, outside of the trombone, the trumpet, and the piano. And what's the other one?
So we talked about euphonium and French horn.
Yes, that's the others outside of the four that we will mostly see. Right.
Then the saxophone, which you will hear me perform tonight as well. So the saxophone, I was taught by my sister Stephanie. She was always going to school overseas during the time that I was mostly a kid. So she was whenever she would be at home, it was like during the summers, or like at Christmas, for example. But one summer that she did come home, I was practicing saxophone. I think I had like literally just picked it up that summer, and I remember the first so-called lesson. Clearly, she was washing dishes, and I came into the kitchen with my saxophone and my music stand, and we had our first saxophone lesson, and she stuck with me, and I pretty much learned how to play the saxophone in that summer from my sister. And I love that memory. Obviously, saxophone is like one of my favorite instruments that I play right now, and I'm obviously so grateful that she took the time out to help me do that. And so that's pretty much why I got started up on saxophone. Never had a teacher until I got to Cho, Rosemary Hall. That's like I said, similar to trumpet. Where I spent the last 3 years, and that's pretty much how I got started on sax.
Okay, some of the others that you don't play often, you can just name them if you wish.
So clarinet,
flute.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a little bit of guitar. I think is that about all?
It could be.
I think so. I think I lost track a little bit. I think that sounds like about all of them.
It sounds like that. Listen, I mean, this is just amazing, and we still have not even yet gone to the point of beginning. I know you said about 6. You started with the. But we're gonna do that. You know what? Are you ready to give us another piece of something?
Sure.
Yes. What are we gonna get this time?
I'm gonna play a song on the trombone next. This one is gonna be Feelings.
Feelings. Okay, so he's going to get the. Oh, this is a long one.
Yeah.
He's gonna do this one called Feelings. Feelings by.
It's been redone so many times, but it's a very popular song, and I'm sure the audience will recognize it immediately.
Okay, are you ready? Is the mic well positioned? Okay. This is the In the Spotlight radio show. Our guest tonight is the amazingly talented Jacques, and Jarett confirmed for us tonight that he's able to play at least 9 instruments. He described the trumpet as his main instrument, not calling it his favorite, but his main instrument, and he is going to play the trombone for us, and he'll tell us about it, a little bit more about it when we're done with the performance. Are you ready, Jarett?
I am.
Okay. And applause for Jarett, Jacques. It's like we're having our own private and personal concert here on the In the Spotlight radio show, and I did recognize it right away. Jarett. This instrument is long. Tell us a bit more about it.
Yes. So the trombone, if you're not sure what it looks like, maybe if you've ever seen an instrument with a really long slide,
yes,
and the person is moving that slide up and down to produce the different notes. That's basically what the trombone looks like. And
what do you appreciate about this instrument in particular?
Yeah, the trombone, I think it's fun. It's got this really deep and mellow tone. So for on songs where I want this really a little more of a dark feel, more full, I would go for playing trombone on that song.
Mm-hmm. In terms of the breathing and so on, does it require the same as the trumpet?
Yeah, and another reason why I like sticking with brass instruments is because a lot of the techniques that I use can cross over from instrument to instrument, and obviously it's not always an exact match. Each instrument requires its own new set of techniques and things that you need to learn, but some things, like you mentioned, like in terms of the breathing, for example, that stays consistent. All the work that I put into in increasing my breath control and all of that all that work transfers over to if I'm playing with trumpet to trombone to euphonium, like that stays.
Mm-hmm. What was the learning process for this instrument?
So this instrument is one of the few that I had a teacher with here in Dominica, and I actually learned with Valina Leta. Shout out Ma Leta. And she actually doesn't know how to play the trombone.
Yeah?
She does not know how to play the trombone, but being the conductor of Music Lovers Government Band for so many years, she has extensive knowledge on how the instrument is supposed to be played. She could tell you right away, like, that's wrong, here's what you need to do to fix it, even if she herself didn't know how to play the instrument. So I went, I can't remember for exactly how many years I stayed with her, but she was the one who got me started off on trombone. And I remember I would go to her music class for lessons, and I would sit next to her while she sat at the piano. She would play along with me, and then give me tips and advice, and be like, okay, well, that doesn't sound right, how about you try doing this? And mind you, like during that whole time, I'm still going on YouTube, watching the videos, watching the professionals, see what they have to say, from like a playing actually playing the instrument perspective. But in terms of like actual guidance on like how to play the instrument, she's the one who started me off.
This is incredible. Kind of unbelievable too.
There's so many people who have had like such huge impacts on my musical career. It is actually unbelievable.
Let's go back, Jarett, to when it all began.
Yeah.
How did it begin? When did you know? How did it start? Tell us.
I mean, I'll tell you what, like, playing music as like a 5, 6, 7-year-old on a Saturday afternoon when like everyone else is like outside playing, it's not fun. And there were times where I definitely was on the view that like I really wish that like I just was not doing this. And but like those are like very short-lived moments.
But how did it start? Was it through your dad? Did somebody bring an instrument to you to say you need to start playing music?
No, like
was it you?
I think my older two sisters played, and I think that was the main starter. It was the fact that they played, and when I came along, I'm pretty sure what happened was they just kind of my older sister kind of gave me a lesson on piano and recorder. I think those two happened at the same time. They gave me a lesson on that, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, obviously, I was a bit young, so I can't remember exactly like how it played out. But I'm pretty sure like I just picked it up right away. In the sense that like I was like actually really receptive to what they were saying, and I was actually enjoying it. So I think when you see a kid who is like that young, and they're like, you know, showing so much interest in like, you know, learning an instrument. That's huge. You know, that's amazing. And I think my parents just kind of gave me that room to grow. So once I started off, I think a couple of years with my oldest two sisters on piano and recorder. By the time I was like 6, that's when they started him off with trumpet with Shrindal Lawrence, and they actually got him as a private tutor. So he would come to my house every Sunday for about, you know, 5 or 6 years initially, that and, you know, would give me lessons. Eventually he ended up teaching for the Christian musical school, which I also did piano with there later on, and so I would go there to go to the Christian musical school to take both trumpet and piano. Yeah, but starting off, I think it was just the fact that like my older two sisters played, like there was music going on in the home all the time. And my parents make this joke all the time. It's like, even when my mom was in the hospital pregnant with me, it was my sisters there playing music for her. So it's like, I've been around music before I was even in school. So that's the joke that they go with.
So they were playing while your mom was at the hospital?
They were.
Giving birth?
Yeah. Well, I maybe I wasn't.
It's the actual giving birth.
But I was definitely a part of music before I was even here. So
Take us through the remainder of the journey, the music journey, and even before that, your dad. I know you reference him a lot in terms of, you know, just being there and supporting, and your mom too. You did mention your mom in terms of, you know, probably the attire and what you wear and so on. What do you think was their vision for you at such a young age of 6, you know, following the footsteps of your sisters, you know, getting the inspiration from them and starting to play? What do you think was the vision even then?
Honestly, I don't think that there were any expectations at first. I think they just thought, you know, like our, you know, 2 older children did it, like why not get this third one on the way? You know, why not get him, you know, and invested in like doing something like music. I mean, it's an amazing skill to learn. So I can't say that they started me off with the intention of like, you know, I'm gonna push this kid so that, you know, he definitely becomes something big one day. I think it's better that it happened the way it did, which is they started me off, and I am the one who kind of, you know, said like, I am actually enjoying this, and I kind of want to take this further than just like this small hobby. So I can, instead of just saying like I just play music on the side, like maybe I want to take this a little bit more seriously. You know?
What's the vision for you? What's the goal? What's the end game in this? Before we go back to, you know, the journey, the musical journey.
So my goal is I want to share my music and, you know, my art with the world and with as many people as possible, and in multiple ways. I want to do that with both, you know, being able to perform for people, to like have people hear my work and my music, and to have them enjoy it. And also I want to be able to literally be a part of, you know, music education, which is why I'm actually studying music education right now in university, because I want to help, you know, other kids and other people realize that like music can be a passion for them as well. Like there's so much like untapped potential that we have in kids, especially who just like are never given the opportunity to learn. And I want to give them that. I want to give people the chance to actually learn music, because it has done so much for my life. You know, apart from just me like actually realizing that I wanted to be a career of mine, like just like even in my schooling, helping to keep me focused on track in school, it actually helped me in my academics as well. So like music is like really, really beneficial. And you know, another reason why I wanted to do music education, apart from just sharing that, is because like I just think it's really lacking in Dominica right now. And like there should be so much more people involved in like music education, and like not even just music, but like arts in general, whether it's like dance or theater, even like sports, like kids and like people in general, like they need to be like involved in like other things just aside from like their academics.
All right. I was just getting a little clip there.
Yeah.
A little clip there of that. And so you're saying that you would like to see a lot more done with music.
Absolutely.
In Dominica, and to see it incorporated. Do you have any ideas, any suggestions?
small examples like I remember in certain schools or whatever, it's the case where music is either like non-existent in the curriculum or it's just like it's very poor. So for example, like a typical schedule for a school that actually might have music involved is like a 15-minute class of music. I'm like, what could you possibly learn in 15 minutes? I think music and the arts in general needs to be treated as importantly as my English course or my math course. And if that actually happened, then we would see a lot more progress in terms of like younger kids like being able to play.
Mm-hmm. Let's go back, Jarett, to the musical journey.
Yeah.
Take us through the experience. You're only 18,
right.
But I suspect you've been able to walk that musical road probably more extensively than many of us have lived. So let us take us through the journey a bit.
Right. So I think I kind of already went through when I first started that.
Yes.
And I think I also mentioned about a certain point not necessarily having it be the best thing in my life. Like as a young kid, like always knowing what's best for you is difficult, and that's why we have parents who help to guide us. And like I said, so there were some times when it's like I don't feel like doing music today because I want to go outside and play with my siblings. And
does that mean you did it every day?
I practiced every day.
You practiced.
I practiced every day. And I remember I was still in primary school. I remember even being in grade 6 when studying for common entrance and all of that was like should have been taking. Well, it did take priority, but I didn't allow it to like stop me from doing music and whatever else I had to do. I would wake up every morning, probably by like 6 or 6:30. I would make sure that I practiced for at least 30 minutes before I got to school. Before my dad dropped me to school, so I knew I got like at least one instrument in. Like so, for example, I would always do piano in the morning.
Okay.
From like 7 to 7:30, I practiced piano, and then my dad would drop us off to school before he went to work.
So you would sort of entertain the family then while they're getting ready to,
Sure.
to start their day.
I'm not sure if they love playing like scales or just like strict exercises, but hopefully they. I think they probably learned to block it up. By now. There's always music going on in the house, whether it's me or my siblings. So I think we're accustomed with it. But yeah, so I would practice in the morning. I would get back from school. And I'd practice at least 2 to 3 of the instruments in that afternoon, and it depended on what it is that I wanted to work on. Sometimes I would only do like 30-minute sessions, or like sometimes I would do an hour session. It all just depending on. I still listen to myself. Like if I could feel that like I just didn't want to practice right now, I'll be like, okay, I'll at least do 20-30 minutes, and then I'll give it a break because I can't do it right now. But I think the consistency was always there. And I think that was the huge factor, is that I was always consistent with what I did. I practiced every single day, and that's pretty much why like I was able to grow so much. And I think why other people don't necessarily see that growth and they think that they plateau is just because that their consistency is lacking.
Mm-hmm. So continue.
Yeah. So those are like my primary school grade 6 days. Then I got to high school. I think I mentioned the ABRSM exams earlier. At that time, I was doing like 5 instruments in like one sitting. So I was doing exams on trumpet, trombone, piano, French horn, euphonium. And the way that these exams worked is an examiner would be set down from the exam board in London to Dominica. So over like a 2-day period, we would have these exams, and I would literally sometimes have to go like back to back to back. I'm like doing these instruments, so it was definitely a lot of pressure in terms of like having to balance doing that with my academics. But I was able to make it work. By the time I was in second form, huge shout out to Huguette Sensila. Oh my gosh, she's when I was in second form. She is the reason why I was able to pass my music CXC at the time, C6 examination at the time, when I was only in second form, which hasn't been done before. When I was in second form. and mind you, not only did because of her was able to pass, I didn't even know CXC had a top 10 list. I apparently emerged, I was number 7 on the list. So of everyone who took the music examination that year in the Caribbean, I was number 7. And I absolutely credit all of that to Hugo.
And that was for which of the instruments?
So for that, so the music CSEC examination, it's a little bit different than just like doing an examination on an instrument. You have a lot of like research to do, like theory-wise. That's like the little like fundamentals of like music. One aspect of it was like for my SBA, I had to like completely like destruct and analyze music from a certain artist. I chose Chubby.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah. I was.
Can you play the music?
Yeah, I have.
Okay,
yeah,
wonderful.
Yeah. I was able to, luckily get an interview with him, which was amazing as well. And so like I spoke with him, and I pretty much spent that time like literally destructing his music, analyzing it, like what makes his music, like what are the fundamental aspects of his music, and so that takes a lot of work, and like she always like was essentially I was always there to like proofread and like give guidance and all of that. So there's a lot, and obviously we had to do the performance on like an instrument, go play a piece to show that you're actually musically competent on an instrument. But there were so many different aspects to the examination than simply playing. Like playing, just being able to play an instrument was like the baseline. That was the minimum. Yeah.
And you emerged top 10.
Yes.
7
in the Caribbean.
In the Caribbean, second form.
In second form.
Were you allowed to do that in second form? I mean, how did that happen?
Clearly, I was. I was originally planning to do it when I was in first form, but Miss Sensula, she spoke to me and she was like, "How about we give this 2 years? He's a little young. I would like him to do because obviously I would have been with the fifth form students if I did it in first form, fifth form class." She's like, "How about let's put him in the fourth form class, give him a year, let his his knowledge about music develop, because I mean she was absolutely right. It took so much. I spent hours and hours and hours, going through my work, making sure that everything was right, because it is difficult, and like it's really easy to like slip up and make mistakes." And I mean her advice was like amazing for me. So I was able to go through that entire fourth form, quote unquote fourth form year when I was in first form, and gain more knowledge, gain what I needed. So when I was in fifth form, we started right away, with the SPAs and everything else that I needed to prepare for. And yeah, so I was able to do well.
You were able to do well. Okay, so from there, where did we...
So after that time, I was doing, a lot of performances and so on.
Yes,
playing
you remember.
Funerals or weddings or concerts, or I remember always playing for the annual APU concert and so on. So there was a lot of stuff that I was, thankful enough to be involved in, to like actually get that performance exposure. Super beneficial, by the way. It's like actually there's literally nothing like the experience of like literally being on stage and performing. And I definitely don't. I'm super thankful for that opportunity, because it's like I'm surrounded by students in a university right now who are like going to school to start doing what I've already been doing for like the past 5, 6, 7 years. So like all the performance opportunities as I was able to get while I was in high school were super beneficial for me. At that point in time, I think I must have been in, I want to say third or fourth form. That's the time when I went to France, and basically like completely like transformed my desire and my playing, to improve and everything like that. So by the time I was in fifth form is when I started looking into applying to boarding school in the US, and I was, again, completely due to music, I was able to get a scholarship to go to Rosemary Hall. It's like one of the top 3 most prestigious like boarding schools in the US. Scholarship valued like over $65,000 a year. US. Yeah.
And you got that?
Yes, yeah, I got that. And not
how were
only
you
that,
able to get that, Jarett?
I don't know. I thank God every day for like giving me such an amazing opportunity. And but like not only was I able to get that scholarship, but I was given a position as a head scholar at that school. And essentially, what a head scholar is every year during the the admission process, the head of the school goes through and he chooses 10 of the most promising applicants of that year, and then they get another special scholarship to like spend time with him and gain mentoring, especially from him. And I was able to also get a grant to do summer programs, which I'll get into that a little bit more, which is another reason why I'm even at Eastman, going to Eastman right now. But through that head scholarship, I was able to get that grant to like pursue an activity or like whatever it was during the summer. That's what was available to the head scholars.
So what was that like to get that, to be among the top 10 students selected, to get some level of mentorship from that particular individual? What was that like?
So could you repeat what was
the top 10? You said you were selected among the top 10. Yes, what was that experience like?
I mean, completely unbelievable. I will say, like, I didn't know what to expect going into the whole applying to boarding school process. And I don't want to forget, I want to shout out the MDC, the Marigot Development Committee. They're the ones who set up the boarding school process, and they have a program where they get students involved in the preparation, because there is actually a lot that goes into it. They give you assistance with the application process, and it's like literally writing your applications, the essays, what the schools look for. Also with taking an exam called the SSATs, which the schools use. So like it's basically just like a test that they used to just get a gauge of like where you're at academically, aside from your transcripts from your high school, of course. But they gave so much support, and so shout out to them and what they're doing. They're still continuing every year, getting a lot of high school kids, like thousands and thousands of dollars in scholarships to these like amazing boarding schools. So genuine props to them for being in my life and helping me to do that as well. But going back to your original question about like being selected, it's like I don't even know. It's like I remember that day, because you get your decisions like all at the same time, roughly, like at least in the same day for the most part. And I remember just like getting one after the other, and like I think I only had like one what's the word? Only one school did not accept me. Oh, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
So like the
what were they thinking? How dare, according to this, who does that?
I don't know. Like, because going into the process, I had no idea what to expect, and it's like I was getting so much like positive feedback.
Yes.
And when I saw the scholarship from Cho, I was like, I already had in my mind that Cho was the place that I wanted to go to. So when I saw the admission letter, I was like, well, completely overjoyed. But there's always a second worry, because even if getting accepted to those schools isn't enough, I need significant help. There's just like so unbelievably expensive. And I saw the scholarship, and I was like, oh my god, I got a full tuition scholarship.
Was it lower down in the letter?
Yes, they don't say everything like once. I don't know. It's like tell me right away. And then they're like, you're a head scholar. I'm like, what is that?
What is that? Break it down.
Come on, like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And so I had found I'd gotten like these amazing benefits from shows. Like they even like paid for my travel, my airfare for me to like go back home and so on. So it's like absolutely a blessing. And that was because I was chosen as a head scholar because of my musical talent. During the admissions process, I submitted a ton of my performances and like videos of myself playing and performing in different places and so on, and they were impressed. I remember when I actually got to school, I remember talking to my interviewer, and she was like, when I saw your profile, I went to like the admissions office, and I was like literally like playing your videos for like everyone in the room, and I was just like, oh my god, like I just couldn't believe it. And dream come true is an understatement, but those 2 years have definitely been some of the best years of my life.
Tell us what those years were like.
Yeah.
What did it involve?
Yeah. So Tro is it has its reputation for a reason. It's definitely it's super competitive, and you really have to. You're always surrounded by students who are doing like amazingly well, like academically, extracurricularly, whether it's sports or like music or dance or theater, whatever the case is. So you're constantly being surrounded by like overachieving students. So that's where it gains its reputation from like producing these students who are just like really top achievers. And I think going to school here, and I'm gonna get to like a place where it's so rigid and structured, and like mind you, this is my first time like being away from my family. So like, there's like so many other pressures. Even when I went to France, like my dad was with me, and we even stayed with like a family friend. So it's like I constantly had a familiar face around me. This was the first time when I was like going to be in an environment for like an extended period of time where I had like absolutely no one that I knew. So, and then we could talk about the culture shock, where it's like completely different people, and like it's like I'm like literally relearning how to socialize. And there's a lot of things. So my first year was like a bit of a a whirlpool. There was a lot going on. There was a lot that I had to figure out on my own as a person, like how to interact, how to find my niche in that school society. But again, like I would still maintain it's like one of the most fun experiences of my life, and definitely wouldn't take it back for anything. Like I met so many new people, even in my first year. I was like, sometimes people say like your first group of friends aren't necessarily going to be the ones that you stick with the whole time. I was actually so lucky to find some amazing people who I like stuck with like those entire 3 years that I was there. And my second year, it didn't go so well, because of COVID and so on. So there was a lot of like online classes going on, and even that is a little bit more stressful.
Did you have to come back home?
I was home, yeah, for quite a while, and then I ended up going when flights finally reopened. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go back just in case they like get closed down again. I don't want to, still get stuck here for a second time. So I ended up staying in Washington D.C. for a little bit with my sister, Stephanie. So I stayed there for I think a couple of months before I was able to finally go back to campus and so on. So I think I only had like maybe like 2 to 3 months max of my second year there at church. So yeah, that was but we were all robbed, like even in school here, it's like people have been like remote and doing online schooling for like so long. So I'm sure that just wasn't a particularly fun time for anyone. Both students and like educators and likewise. So, but that was that. But my senior year, my last year there, absolutely loved it. I had an amazing experience, and it wasn't without its pressures. Like at that time was when I was applying to colleges, so that came with its own thing, and it's like there's a lot of pressures because you're going to a school which like. They call it like a feeder school for all these like Ivy League universities. So it's like top of the line. All these kids are getting like accepted to like Yale and like U Chicago and like all these like Princeton, like all these amazing schools. So it's like I have a responsibility for like myself and the school that I'm at. So there's a lot of pressure. Luckily for me, I have decided like long before that I was gonna go all the way with music. Which is obviously like that's a hard decision to make, because everyone talks about the starving artist, and I won't lie, it takes a lot of courage to like make that step and make that decision to be like, well, I'm willing to actually pursue what I love, and this is what's gonna make me happy in life, and regardless of what others may think or like what their expectations are of me, like this is actually what I want to pursue.
And you made that decision all on your own?
No, definitely not all on my own. I knew from inside me, yes, but like I spoke to a lot of people.
Okay.
I had to get like experiences. I spoke to people who are currently in university doing music. I spoke to current like professionals who are like literally living the life that I want to live. I spoke to people who were in fields completely outside of music. Unfortunately, I didn't really have that other like desire or passion for a subject outside of music. I mean, there were things that I liked, but nothing that I could say like, oh, I have a real passion for this. But still, I spoke and I had conversations with people in all types of fields, and even after all of that, I took everything that they had to give me. I took all of their advice and so on, and I was still able to come to this decision that like music is what I want to do, and this is what I really want to pursue in life.
What level of growth did you experience at
Choate?
Yeah. Yes.
So Choate was it's totally amazing. I was able to experience things that I never would have been able to get the chance to. Like even literally from my first year, I was able to travel with the orchestra from Connecticut to Washington, D.C., where we were invited to perform in the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, one of the biggest and most popular, famous performing arts centers in the country. And I was able to go there. The hall is amazing. It's beautiful. It's huge. There were hundreds of people, maybe even thousands of people watching us in the audience. And literally being on that stage is like so surreal. It's like, is this like real life right now? And that experience just like showed me like, this is what I want to experience for like the rest of my life. I love the adrenaline, the feeling of like being center stage and like everyone watching me and like expecting something good, So that was amazing. I was able to get a lot of experience with performing with other students who also do music with me. I was able to create a band. We stayed together. Unfortunately, we weren't all in the same group. So two of our members graduated 1 year before us, but we were able to find new members, and we even gave a final senior recital before I graduated. Amazing. I still go back to watch the videos every now and then to remind me of it. I was also able to finally get like real professional musicians as teachers, and I was able to take lessons on trumpet, piano, and saxophone at Choate from musicians who are like teachers in like universities or like literally performing at huge events like every week and so on. So I was really put in an environment where I could grow and develop really, really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of going back to something that I mentioned earlier on with the summer grant that I got from being a head scholar, is what I did with that is I attended I think in my second year, the summer of my second year there, I applied for a program at Eastman, a summer program called the Eastman Classical Studies Summer Program. And from that, luckily I was able to get accepted, because you still have to go through an audition process for that kind of a thing. They're only going to take in as many people as it would take to fit a typical orchestra, which is around like 60 people, but like for each instrument. So for example, for trumpet, you're only going to have like 3 to 4 trumpeters in a typical orchestra. So it's like where they're only going to accept 3 to 4 trumpeters to that program. So it's obviously still extremely competitive, because you have like hundreds, maybe if not thousands of people applying for that program. And luckily, because I stuck with it and I was able to continue growing, I was able to get accepted to that. And I did that program for 2 summers back to back, auditioned the second time, I was able to get in again. I mean, that program it's a pre-college program, but what they do is they give you basically a taste of like college life and like the types of classes that you would have to take at a college level. So I was able to get a feel for like, is this kind of something that I would enjoy? And it was, luckily for me. So that's why I decided to take it a second time. But the best part of it all was the teacher that I got. My professor, his name's Wesley Nance. He taught the summer programs. and I was able to have him 2 years back to back. And after the second year, Eastman has a separate school called the Eastman Community Music School. So what they do is they offer lessons to like, you know, students and so on. And luckily I was able to schedule lessons with Wesleyans for the regular school year. So I did lessons with him for an entire year leading up to the time that I would like apply to Eastman. So I've been like involved with this school for like the past like basically entire 3 years, the entire time that I've been in the US. And that's a huge part of like what really made me realize like not only did I want to pursue music, but that is the place that I wanted to do it at. Because I just love the environment. Obviously, you know, I was able to go to have a close relationship with that teacher in particular. And the best part of it all is that right now when I go to school, he's still going to be the one who gets to teach me when I'm there.
Oh,
So it's all coming full circle, and yeah, I'm just loving every minute of it.
All right. 10:04 is the time in the studios. How many more do you have planned? I hope it's 2.
2. We could do some more.
All right, so we're gonna do 1 now,
Okay.
and then we're gonna come back, talk some more, and you will do the final one before we wrap up the program. So we're going to take just a quick break and allow him to get his instrument together, and we're coming right back. That's a pretty one. We're coming right back. Keep it locked.
In the spotlight on Q95 FM radio every Monday night from 8 p.m. In the spotlight, featuring people from all walks of Dominican life, spotlighting their triumphs and tragedies, dreams, hopes, aspirations, untold stories, touching the human and personal side of legal politics, religion, sports, business, music, culture, the media, and more. Getting to know our farmers, our public servants, no restrictions, no rules bar. In the spotlight will also spotlight interesting topics, issues, and relevant situations. Don't miss In the Spotlight on Q95 FM radio every Monday night from 8 p.m. In the Spotlight.
having our own personal concert here. Well, I recognize that song. That's Alicia Keys. I think, I'm not sure what the name is, but Some People Want It All. Is that what it's called?
If I ain't got you.
If I Ain't Got You.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's one of them. And this was amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yes. This was amazing, and this was beautiful. And this instrument,
That was an alto saxophone.
that was the saxophone.
Yes.
Yes. Tell us about this beautiful saxophone.
Yeah, so the saxophone, well, that song in particular, If I Ain't Got You, it's definitely one of my more favorite songs to perform. I just love it. And the saxophone, you know, like I mentioned earlier, you know, being taught by my older sister during the summer, and I pretty much just stuck with it. It's a cool instrument. It's definitely I would call it a performing instrument. It's really easy to like learn a song and like go on stage and like perform and like that kind of thing. And people love hearing the saxophone. So yeah.
So you're off to university. In fact, I think that would be the only Monday I would have been able to get you to be on the program because you're moving out quite soon.
Yeah.
Tell us about that journey and what's going to happen.
Yeah. So my orientation starts the 23rd. So I get in. You know, it's getting, you know, the lay of the land in terms of like, well luckily for me actually, I was able to visit this past, I want to say it was in May, around May, I was able to get a visit to the university, and it kind of just, you know, was like a reassurance of like, you made the right decision, kind of a visit. But I was finally able to meet my teacher, Wesley Nance, in person for the first time, because we had always been doing our lessons online because of both COVID and distance. Like he lives in Rochester and I go to school in Connecticut.
Okay.
There's just no way for us to be in person. But so I was finally able to meet him. It was amazing. You know, great meeting. I was able to finally get a tour of like the building itself, of, you know, the auditorium and like where the classes are held. Definitely the best auditorium I've ever seen. It's like, it might as well be like gold plated. It's very fancy, but it's just like, you know, it's basically jaw dropping. There's this humongous chandelier from the top, and it's just so shiny and it's so beautiful. You know, everything just like, it's like I walked in there, I was like, I'm gonna be on that stage one day, and it's just
yes,
like,
you will.
you know, I was just like, I just can't wait. Yeah, so I was able to like get a tour of the facilities, get a look at like, you know, where I'm gonna be basically every day for the next 4 years or so. So yeah, you know, coming up to the 23rd and just like less than just over a week and something right now, and yeah, I'm excited. Mostly, I mean, you know, obviously, it's, you know, those feelings of not wanting to leave home. You know, I missed it for, you know, not being here for so long. Like I said, I haven't been able to like visit as often, you know, because of COVID and whatnot. But you know, being here, I was here the entire summer, and you know, I loved it. Luckily, I was able to have my 2 younger siblings come down with me as well, and we had a great time together. You know, so there's those feelings of like not wanting to leave, but you know, I would say it's like the excitement for like what's coming is definitely trumps that right now, and yeah, I'm just like, you know, ready to like, you know, go into that next phase of my life where I'm like literally making the first steps of like, okay, this is concrete, this is like set in stone, this is like, I'm making it a reality right now, like this is what I'm gonna do. You know, I feel like once I finally like, you know, start those first few weeks of classes and like, you know, the whole buzz of like starting a new school year, you know, that comes on, and like I can really get into the focus of like continuing to develop my craft and my music and all of that. You know, I can't wait I'm excited for the amount that I'm going to improve. Even if I don't know it yet, I know that I will, so I'm excited for that.
Scholarships?
Yes, again. So I was able to receive full tuition scholarship, and it's just blessing after blessing, because when I got a full tuition scholarship, but I didn't initially get anything for room and board, and mind you, that's still like, this tuition scholarship is like $60,000, but like
60,000 per year.
Yeah, per year. And you're still gonna have to add another I believe I want to say between $15,000 and $18,000 for a room and board.
US dollars.
US dollars. So it's like, okay, I got up to 60, but it's like, where am I gonna live? What am I gonna eat for the next 4 years? It's like, how can I possibly come up with $15,000? It's just no way. So I said, you know what? I'm going to appeal to the admissions department again, because I'm so appreciative of what you already gave me. But like, is there anything in place for me to get a scholarship for room and board as well? They probably took a few days to get back to me on there, and I opened the email and it's like, lucky for you, an opportunity arrived, and we were able to give you a full scholarship for room and board. I was like,
oh my God,
literally jumping
shivering.
It was amazing, and
so you are fully covered.
Fully covered.
Is it for just this year or
Nope.
for your entire?
My entire program, I'm fully covered to
Oh my
attend
God,
university. Yeah.
Blessings.
Indeed, absolutely.
Oh my God, thank God for that.
Yeah, I couldn't be more thankful. It's just like everything just like falls into the right place to like, hand me these opportunities, and I'm like so thankful. I'm able to take full advantage of it now.
So this journey for you that you've been on since about 6 years old, how would you summarize that journey, and where do you see that road leading from now?
Let's see. So I would summarize it as a lot of obsession over music, then questioning, is this the right thing, and then realizing that I actually have a knack for this, and actually just like buckling down and like not doing it, and this new environment that I'm going to be in, it's like even like my France experience, but like on a whole new level. Like I am gonna be with people who are like going to be the next world-class musicians, one day, and so it's daunting that I have to deal with that, but it's also encouraging because I know it's like maybe that person is gonna be me, because being in that environment, you learn so much, and you are able to absorb for not only your teachers but like your peers, because you're both you're all like aiming to do the same thing. So yeah, I'm super excited for this next phase of my life, and for it to just be one big stepping stone to like my final goal of just being able to like perform and like hopefully like even tour one day, share my music with places all over the world, and like ultimately be able to come back to Dominica to give back.
Who is the ultimate musician you would like or you would love to play alongside one day?
Let's see. So my favorite singer is Michael Bublé.
Okay.
And he has I love his big brass bands that he plays with, performs with rather, and I would love to be a part of that. But there's this more new age musician. His name is Jacob Collier. Definitely my number one favorite musician right now. He's from London, and I was actually able to go see a concert of his before I came down this summer, and easily probably the most fun I've ever had in my entire life being at that concert, because I absolutely adore this guy's music, and he's like an actual genius when it comes to like music and being able to play and like actually understanding music, and he's just like amazing to look at, just like not even performing, but like he does this like often does like live streams of like his like thought process of like him actually recording music and so on. So it's like I follow this guy everywhere, and like it would 100% be a dream come true to like one day be able to play with him. That's definitely a goal for sure.
Giving back to Dominica, in some way, how are you thinking that you may be able to do that sometime in the future?
Yeah, I'm quite certain that eventually I'll be able to open up my own music studio, where I'll be able to teach and basically teach and like help students, both kids and adults, hopefully learn music. I'm also looking to like see if I can like help change in terms of like even just the way people think about music. I think parents in particular, because if we're looking from like a child perspective, it's really the parents that we have to talk to. They're the ones, encouraging the children and like, helping to mold them and so on. So if parents, gain a different view of music about like in terms of how helpful it really can be for their children, then we could see a lot of improvements. So, just actually, teaching and having my own studio, but like trying to reach a larger, audience in terms of like changing their perspective on like why music is good, for their children to learn.
And for children, the young ones who are in music school, taking classes, what's the message?
Oh, please continue. I know, and practice, trust me. Even if it's just like 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes a day, you will see improvement. I guarantee it. There's literally nothing like being consistent and like actually practicing, because that's the only way that you're going to improve. And the 1 hour lessons that you have with your teacher once a week, that's not the time that you want to improve. You want to improve during that week when you're not at your lesson every single day. So you work on what they teach you, so that the next time you're at your lesson, you get to work on something new, and then that's the way that you improve. So I know it may seem taxing, but like if you just set your alarm for 15-20 minutes a day, you will be surprised at how much that you can accomplish in like a short span of time, just because you were consistent with that 15 minutes. And then once you see actual improvement, then you're able to increase that time and be like, because I think that's the main issue. It's like when people don't see results, they often quit. It's the same thing with music. It's like if I don't feel like I'm getting better, if I can hear myself, if I don't sound like I'm getting better, like why would I want to continue? It all takes time. It's a process. It just doesn't happen instantly. I didn't learn how to play these instruments like overnight. They took hours and hours and hours of work. And sure, when you've decided to take it seriously, there are sacrifices that have to be made. But I mean, like we all, at the end of the day, we just gotta do what we gotta do. And because it's something that I know I want to pursue, like I'm willing to like make the sacrifices to improve. So to you kids, like I said, just practice. Promise me to practice, even if it's just 15 minutes a day. Set your alarm 15 minutes, and you'll be surprised how much you can achieve.
Mm-hmm. As we get into wrap up, your family, what would you like to say to your family, your dad, your parents, your siblings, that close-knit group of people that have basically been there holding you along the way?
Yeah, I just want to say thankful. I am like eternally grateful. It's like, and I know that I don't say it enough to be honest with you. But I will never forget that the reason that I am in the position that I am today is because of the sacrifices that they made for me. It wasn't always easy, because it takes a lot, like even like financially, to like support what I'm doing. It's like once I started taking it more seriously, like I needed better equipment, which means I need like good instruments, and like luckily for me, I was able to get in a relationship with this group called Music Missions. That's like Luther and Ruth Kosawan, and basically they came to Dominica with the goal to provide instruments to students in secondary and primary schools. So through them, I was able to get some instruments, but like even then, like when I needed like real like professional grade quality instruments, like they had to make a lot of sacrifices, because like these instruments are like expensive, but like they were willing to do that because I was committed to it, and they knew that I would take full advantage of the opportunity that they gave me. So yeah, sacrifices were made even by my other siblings. Sometimes they always would sit around me and like listen to my performances while I practice, like mock performances, so like I could get a feel of how it would be to like perform in public. So they've always been so supportive. So yeah, I love each and every one of them tremendously. Thank God for them every single day, and my parents in particular. I'm always grateful for everything they do. Even when I don't say it, I love and appreciate them tremendously. All right.
Your final comments as we wrap up, and then we're going to go out with your last.
This was fun. I really enjoyed this conversation. For future performances, I actually have a performance coming up on Wednesday evening at Katai. It starts at 7, free entrance. So please turn out. Please come. I'll be performing tons of different genres of music. We'll be doing some jazz, some reggae, some Afrobeats, some pop. Please just come out and I promise it'll be a good time.
Mm-hmm. I saw a bit of you at La Flamboyant a couple Fridays ago.
Yeah.
So is that part of what you've been doing since you've been here?
Yeah, I've had a few opportunities to perform. I've done some private events. I was actually part of Ophelia Marie's performance at the Kata Sipso tribute the other couple weeks ago, and I've been doing this happy hour on Fridays at La Flamboyant, which we were there for a couple weeks ago, and coming up this Wednesday at 7 p.m. at Katai. It's across. If you don't know where that is, it's across Courts on Old Street.
Former Heritage,
right?
Former, I forgot the other former.
Yeah, but yeah, you get the idea. So it'll be there on Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. I'll be performing there, so please turn out. Yeah.
We are so excited for you, Jarett. You know, you've worked hard, clearly, when other children were out playing and having fun and running around and so on.
Right.
You were busy practicing, even at times when probably you didn't want to.
Yeah.
You've clearly stuck to it. You've been committed to it. Mm-hmm. And I think you deserve every blessing that you're getting now, especially with scholarships.
Yeah.
And, you know, having everything covered. I mean, there's no better blessing than that, you know. And you can just go through and focus on your studies and improving and growing and developing and, you know, and getting really, really good at your art. Well, all those instruments, you know, that you play. But, you know, you really should be thankful, and this is truly a blessing. And I think Dominicans, I know people who are listening are saying, this young man is very talented and, you know, in their own space at home, wishing you well as you go off to university and go to further cement those skills that you're developing with all of those instruments. Absolutely. So on behalf of everyone, you know, we really just want to wish you well and hope that, you know, you come out all of this on top, and that you at some point come back home and give back to your country. It's always important to give back to your country. So thank you very much for your presence here this evening.
Thank you.
It is really truly appreciated. I hope that if at least two young people in particular, were inspired by you and what you do, you know, there's hope.
That's the hope
for the future of music, right? Yeah. What is the last piece you're gonna do?
We'll go out with some reggae. It's This Love.
Nice. Okay, so as Jarett gets ready to give us Bob Marley's Is This Love, let me again thank everyone who supported us with our Classroom Ready Set Go scholarship initiative. As we indicated before, you know, we are able to give 7 scholarships to 7 children of the $500 value, and we will be doing that this Saturday, and we're truly excited about it. And you know, we hope that we can continue to do this next year. As a matter of fact, I'm already looking forward, and trust me, the original is already looking forward to next year. So thank you again, everyone. And if you still want to reach out, you know, please feel free to reach out and support our efforts with this. So we get ready for Jarett as he gives us the saxophone again. I love the instrument. Yeah. So this is the saxophone, this is the trumpet over there, this is the trombone. Yes. And then the other piece that you couldn't bring in here is the piano that you really enjoy playing. Are we ready, Jarett?
We are.
We are ready. Let's roll. Oh my God, what awesomeness!